So the name of this course is, old time accompaniment. And one of the things that you're certainly going to run into if you're interested in old time music is fiddle tunes. And you're going to probably find yourself backing up lots of fiddle tunes if you go to an old time jam session or an old timey folk music festival, something like that. What I've tried to do with this course is I've focused on songs, but I've focused on songs that use the same progressions and the same chord changes as most of the fiddle tunes you're going to run into. So I thought I would make a separate video just sort of talking about fiddle tunes. And actually a great resource is YouTube. A lot of the greatest old-timey musicians that are out there today can be found on YouTube. Either someone filmed them at a festival or they've made some videos themselves. And, it's actually a pretty good practice to get into of being able to look at somebody's hands and figure out what chords they're playing. A little bit of practice, you should start to be able to recognize, especially after watching all these videos, recognize a G chord and a C chord and a D chord and an E chord. Maybe they play A like this or they play A like this. Keep an eye out for that capo. I've learned how to, maybe pause the video and you try and count how many frets are behind the capo, figure out where they're at. Also, it's good for your ear to, run the video and then strum some chords on the guitar. See if you can figure out what key it's in. A lot of times that's the secret that kind of cracks the code. And, you figure out they're capoed here on the second fret, but they're using G shapes, which would put them in the key of A. Then you just shift your thinking into the key of G and say, okay, I know the primary chord's in the key of G, that kind of thing. It's kind of like solving a mystery. It can be fun to figure out a song. And figuring out songs on your own is definitely a huge skill. Once you get to where you can figure out songs on your own, either from hearing them on a recording or seeing someone play them on a video, then the road is really going to open up for you, because then you can teach yourself anything you want, really. And the amazing thing is your ear will get better and better and better. It's pretty cool how your ear can just continuously get better at hearing things and hearing more subtle things. Anyhow, the majority of fiddle tunes you're going to hear will be in the good old keys. C, A, G, E, D, and specifically G and D, because those keys work particularly well on the fiddle. So I think by working through the songs that I have in this course, you're going to learn the different moves from chord to chord. But I thought I would do a little snippet of each of the keys to show you the basic walk-ups and walk-downs that might be used in a fiddle tune. And I'm just going to go right down the line, starting with the key of C. So if the tune were in the key of C, my go-to pattern would be an alternating bass note strum like this. Then there's a nice walk up to the F chord on the 4th string, open string, 2nd fret, 3rd fret. And these would be beats 3 and 4. 3, 4, 1, and you're set up to do the F chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You can do it backwards. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And you can walk down to the G chord by going 2nd fret, 5th string, open string, 3, 4, 1. Do it in reverse. 0. So. Those would be my go-to patterns for a fiddle tune in the key of C. So for the key of A, most of your walk-ups and walk-downs are happening in a specific pattern, which is an open string, 2nd fret, and 4th fret, and you're using your 1st and 3rd fingers. So if you're playing an A chord, you can walk up to the D chord, D, There's quite a few videos in the key of G in this course, so I'll only spend a moment looking at this. There's a walk up to the G, open string 2nd fret, 3rd fret. I'll throw that in when I have a stretch of G all by itself. Walk up to the C, that's open string 2nd fret, 3rd fret, and then you can walk up to the D chord. So one more time, G, up to C, up to D, key of E, the patterns are similar to the key of A. So key of E would be like this. Walk up to the A, 2nd and 4th frets, walk up to the B7. Finally, the key of D. Here's a couple of different moves in the key of D. Start off on the key of D, walk up to G. You can also do this to walk up to A. So that is by no means all of the possible transitions between the chords, but I think it's a really good starting point. It's certainly some of the more common ones, and stylistically, the way guitar players stand out is by coming up with their own little variations on that. There's a whole lot of really cool, moves that I haven't covered in this course, but I wanted to give you a foundation, and this video you're watching right now should set you up to be fairly comfortable backing up songs or fiddle tunes in these 5 keys. And then if you watch the videos about how to use the capo, that would be my go-to way to play in a different key if I'm backing up a fiddler. It might be worth talking briefly about fiddle tunes and their structure. We talked about the 12-bar blues as a chord progression you really want to be familiar with. Fiddle tunes don't follow a clear-cut pattern like that, that's that predictable. But I would say 90% of fiddle tunes break down into an A section and a B section. And the A section is usually 8 measures long, and then it repeats. And then the B section is 8 measures long, and it repeats. So that is a structure that you can count on. And there might be slight variations in the repeats. So in other words, the first 8 measures of fiddle tune, that last measure might have a 5 chord to set up the repeat of the A section, and then the end of the second time through might have a different chord to lead into the B section. But that general 32-bar structure, so 2 8-bar sections that each repeat, that accounts for most of the fiddle tunes you run into. Then you'll run into the ones that have an A, a B, a C section, and there's always exceptions to the rule. But I think that is a good guideline. And on top of that, I would say the vast majority of fiddle tunes stick to very basic harmony. 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord. Sometimes a flat 7 chord jumps in there, or a minor chord, once in a while. But those primary chords will get you a long way to backing up fiddle tunes. So I would recommend getting some books of fiddle tunes that show the chord progressions. It could be a book for fiddlers, a book for guitar players, but it can be worthwhile to flip through and just pay attention to the chord changes. Don't worry so much about the melody. You're not looking to flat pick it. In this case, you're looking to back it up. So you can just flip through a fiddle tune book and see that, okay, it does G, and then it goes to C, and so forth. And you'll start to see some of the patterns that occur over and over and over again. You do sometimes have situations where the chord changes come really fast, especially towards the end of a section. So, if you're in G, the last 2 measures might split the measure between, say, G for 2 beats, C for 2 beats, G for 2 beats, D for 2 beats. So that's probably the trickiest thing about fiddle tunes, is that you're gonna need to really have your strumming bass note strum pattern down and be able to be able to move between those chords even when they only last for 2 beats at a time. But I hope that helps, and I've had a lot of fun in my time as a musician backing up fiddlers, and so I really recommend, if you find yourself at a jam session or something, just jump in there and start trying to back them up, and I think you're going to find that it's a really fun side of guitar playing.